What a wild stretch of days it's been for the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that never seems to sleep when it comes to roster construction. If you thought things would quiet down after the initial cuts to get to the final 53, think again. Howie Roseman and the front office went to work, pulling off what can only be described as a flurry of moves to shape this team for the long haul. We're talking 15 players added to the practice squad, a surprise name snatched off the waiver wire, and a fascinating new addition to the active roster that has fans buzzing. Plus, some much-needed positive updates on key injuries as we inch closer to the start of the regular season. Eagles football is back, and Philly is cooking up something serious. Let's start with what felt like an all-you-can-eat buffet of practice squad signings. 15 players officially locked in, with one final spot still open at the time of recording. These moves may not grab national headlines, but make no mistake, this is the type of foundation building that wins championships. You've got young talent with upside, veterans who just missed the cut, and developmental prospects who could end up contributing sooner than expected. Among those signed, linebacker Chance Campbell returns to the fold. Now that might raise some eyebrows. He's only been with the team for about a week, hasn't played in a regular season game since last year, and yet here he is, snagging one of the final spots. But when you dig deeper, it starts to make a little more sense. Campbell knows linebackers coach Bobby King from their time together in Tennessee, and that familiarity matters in a system where roles need to be executed without hesitation. He may not have the ceiling of some other options, but as a potential special teams contributor, he earns another look. One of the more notable names is wide receiver Elijah Cooks. This guy had a standout training camp, until that unfortunate shoulder injury in the first preseason game derailed his momentum. After that, his performances dipped, and he struggled to recapture that early flash. Still, there's value in keeping a guy like this around. He's a big-body target who knows the system and was making some seriously tough grabs before the injury. Yes, he's already 26, turning 27 in October, and he's entering his third year, but if the Eagles need depth mid-season, Cooks could get his number called. Audric Estime is a new addition who immediately jumps out. Only 21 years old, and already looking like a steal. He was taken in the 5th round of the 2024 draft by the Denver Broncos, and if you know anything about Sean Payton, you know he's got a sharp eye for offensive skill players. That alone makes Estime's presence on this roster intriguing. As it stands, he slots in behind Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, and A.J. Dillon, likely the RB4 for now, but he's a physical back with burst and vision. Not someone you expect to feature heavily in year one. But if injuries strike, the Eagles won't hesitate to lean on him. Now, Kenyon Green. That name probably stings a little bit for Eagles fans. He was the piece that came back in the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade, a move that, frankly, hasn't aged well. It's rare to say this about Howie Roseman, but this one? A definite miss. Green struggled to stay on the field during the offseason and didn't perform up to expectations when he was out there. Still, you can see the logic. He's young, only 24 years old, and he's walking into the offensive line factory that is Jeff Stoutland University. If anyone can get something out of him, it's Stout. There's a reason the Eagles are patient with linemen. The payoff can be massive. Another tight end joining the group is E.J. Jenkins, who likely fills in as TE4 behind Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and Keelan Grant's son. If one of the top three gets dinged up, Jenkins will probably be the one elevated. Solid insurance policy, if nothing else. And then there's Brandon Johnson, a cornerback who showed potential at nickel during the preseason. Nickel corner isn't the sexiest position, but it's become one of the most important with how offenses attack these days. The fact that the Eagles are keeping tabs on guys like him shows they know how crucial depth at that spot is. Patrick Johnson returns as well, and honestly, that might be one of the most underappreciated moves of the day. Johnson has been quietly impressive, showing flashes in the preseason that made it tough to leave him off the 53. He brings juice off the edge, a high motor, and enough versatility to plug into multiple roles if necessary. It wouldn't be surprising at all to see him elevated early in the season and eventually earning a full roster spot. He's been a gamer. Now let's talk about Cam Latu. Is he a game-changing tight end? Not even close. But the dude brings serious value on special teams. And for the back end of the roster, that matters. The same goes for Terrace Marshall, who was a bit of a surprise addition. He's what some folks call a quad guy, good enough to dominate in the preseason or in spot duty, but maybe not quite there as a full-time starter. Still, if you're in a pinch and need someone who knows what he's doing, Marshall can hold it down. Essentially, he's filling that Paris Campbell role from last season. Don't expect fireworks, but he's reliable. Another interesting retention is quarterback Kyle McCord. He passed through waivers and is back with the Birds. McCord has an NFL-caliber arm, no doubt. He showed flashes during his college days, more so at Syracuse than at Ohio State, and found his rhythm under Fran Brown's system. He's still raw, green as it gets, but he's worth developing. For now, he's QB for behind Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, and Sam Howell. But in today's league, you want that extra arm in the building. Perry Nickerson's back too. He's one of those guys who can play inside or outside at corner, giving the coaching staff some flexibility. Had a solid training camp and made plays during the preseason. Depth piece with experience, nothing flashy, but dependable. Holland Pierce, an offensive tackle, is staying close to home as a Trenton, New Jersey native. He needs development, no doubt, but like Green, he's now part of the Stoutland development program. And we've seen time and time again what that can do for a young lineman. Antoine Powell-Ryland, or APR, as some fans are calling him, was another low-key win for the Eagles. He didn't do much early in the preseason, but he really came alive in that final game. You could see the light bulb flickering. He's got traits, and sometimes that's enough to earn a longer look. He's back on the practice squad, and with the right coaching, maybe he turns into something down the road. Eli Ricks was someone I genuinely thought might look elsewhere. The opportunity for more playing time is out there on other rosters, but he chose to stay in Philly. That says something. Right now, he's probably the 8th cornerback on the depth chart, but his potential is there. He's a tough, physical defender who just needs refinement. And with the Eagles' track record of developing corners, you can't blame him for wanting to stick around. Landon Dickerson also made his return after undergoing knee surgery earlier this offseason. The offensive line is one of the Eagles' biggest strengths, but continuity is everything. Getting Dickerson back in the mix is a huge boost, especially with the physical tone he sets in the trenches. Tanner McKee, who had a fracture in his finger, also got back to practice. And look, there were some concerns about whether he'd be ready to step into that QB2 role behind Jalen Hurts, but it looks like he'll be active for Week 1. Sam Howell slots in as the emergency quarterback, giving Philly one of the more stable and experienced QB rooms in the league. And that's just scratching the surface. There's still that final practice squad spot to fill. Maybe it's Tristan McCullum. Maybe it's Trevor Keegan. Or maybe, just maybe, the Eagles use that slot on Lake Vakalahi through the International Pathway Program. The point is, the work never stops. And just when you thought the Eagles might be done for the day, Howie Roseman pulls another one out of his hat. One of the most exciting developments in this latest round of roster moves was the decision to place a waiver claim on interior offensive lineman Willie Lanin, officially adding him to the 53-man roster. This wasn't just a minor transaction. This was a statement that Philadelphia is serious about investing in its trenches not only for today, but for the future. Now, if you're not familiar with Willie Lanin yet, get ready, because his story is exactly the kind of underdog tale that Philly fans rally behind. He's not the prototypical NFL lineman. In fact, he's anything but. At just under 6 feet tall and weighing in at around 279 pounds, he's built more like a rugged linebacker than your average offensive lineman. But that's what makes him so intriguing. He breaks the mold. What Lanin lacks in size, he makes up for in quickness, agility, and sheer grit. This is a guy with a high-level wrestling background. We're talking about a 47-0 record as a senior in high school. That type of discipline and physical leverage shows up all over his football tape. He stays low, maintains perfect pad level, and fires off the ball with tremendous balance. You can tell he understands leverage better than most linemen in his class, and that's exactly what makes him dangerous, even at his smaller stature. Now, you might be wondering why other teams passed on a guy like this. Simple. Most organizations are looking for size first and traits second. But the Eagles, under the guidance of Jeff Stoutland, have proven time and again that they know how to spot offensive line talent where others don't. Remember when they took a chance on Jason Kelce? A 6th-round pick undersized center out of Cincinnati. Now he's an all-time great and one of the most athletic offensive linemen the league has ever seen. That's the mold they're trying to recreate here with Lampkin. No one's saying he's going to be Kelsey 2.0, but the traits, the footwork, the motor, the athleticism, the attitude, they're there. And with time under Stoutland's guidance, the ceiling for this kid could be a whole lot higher than people think. Another thing to note, Lampkin was the highest-graded rookie offensive lineman in the entire preseason, according to Pro Football Focus. That's not a small sample stat. That's 3 games of real NFL-level action, and he dominated. It wasn't just technique or scheme either. It was pure effort and execution. He showed he could pull, pass protect, and get to the second level like a seasoned pro. You just don't see that often from rookies, especially undrafted ones. The Eagles saw it, though, and moved fast to make sure he didn't land somewhere else. Now, transitioning back to the bigger picture, these aren't just isolated moves. This is the Eagles quietly putting together another classic Howie Roseman off-season masterpiece. You got the headline signings and the big trades, sure, Saquon Barkley being the obvious crown jewel, but then you dig deeper and see what's happening at the margins. That's where Howie wins. That's how this roster stays elite year after year. It's not just about your top 20 players. It's about your 46th, your 53rd, your practice squad call-ups, and your emergency depth. All of it matters when you're trying to win a Super Bowl. And depth is going to be tested immediately because the season opener is not just a game. It's a war. Week 1, Lincoln Financial Field, Eagles versus Cowboys. It's not just another divisional matchup. It's personal. It's hostile. It's physical. And this roster needs to be ready from top to bottom. Getting A.J. Brown back from injury just in time, that's a game changer. When he's on the field, defenses shift. Safeties stay deeper. Linebackers hesitate. He opens up space for everyone else. And then there's Landon Dickerson, who anchors the left side of that offensive line. His return means that the chemistry between the front 5 stays intact. That's huge, especially in a game where time in the pocket could be the difference between a win and a loss. Tanner McKee being healthy again adds another layer of security. Say what you will about third-string quarterbacks, but having someone like Sam Howell in the building as your emergency guy, that's not just smart, that's a luxury. Howell has started real NFL games. He's been in pressure situations. If something goes sideways, this team has insurance. And when you're making a push toward the playoffs or trying to survive the grind of a 17-game season, that kind of depth behind Jalen Hurts matters. Speaking of Hurts, all eyes are on him. This is year 3 of him being the guy. No more questions about whether he's the future. He's locked in. This team is his. The expectations are sky high, and rightfully so. But he's going to need support, especially early on, and that's why moves like bringing in a guy like Lampkin or retaining key special teams pieces become so crucial. These aren't just names on a depth chart. These are the guys who will help this team survive the attrition of an NFL season. Let's also talk about the energy around the building right now. There's a clear sense that this team isn't just talented, it's hungry. The veterans know how close they were last season. 1 or 2 possessions in the playoffs, and things could have gone differently. The younger players, meanwhile, are seeing a clear path to playing time if they produce. That kind of internal competition is what makes good teams great. It pushes everyone, every single day. And with guys like Willie Lampkin walking in the building, you can bet the identity of this team is only getting stronger. Underdogs with bite. That's who the Eagles have always been. That's who they still are. And this season, they're coming for everything. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The sports world in the United States was left reeling as the Philadelphia Eagles announced a move that no one saw coming, sparking intense debate and speculation across the nation. In a stunning turn of events, the Eagles have reportedly secured Micah Parsons, the standout linebacker from the Dallas Cowboys, a player whose presence has dominated headlines since his rookie season. For years, Parsons has been regarded as one of the most electrifying defensive talents in the NFL, combining rare speed, agility, and an instinctive ability to read plays that makes quarterbacks think twice before stepping into the pocket. The very thought of Parsons donning the green and white of the Eagles has sent fans into a frenzy, both in Philadelphia and across the league, with speculation swirling about how this seismic shift might alter the balance of power in the NFC East. Analysts are already drawing comparisons to other blockbuster trades in recent memory, highlighting the potential ripple effects this could have not only on the Cowboys' defensive strategy, but also on how rival teams approach their offseason plans. Rumors suggest that behind-the-scenes negotiations involved multiple layers of complex agreements, with Philadelphia possibly leveraging future draft picks, incentives, or even player exchanges, all of which fuels the sense of drama and intrigue surrounding this unprecedented acquisition. Micah Parsons' move to the Eagles is being discussed in sports bars, podcasts, and social media threads across the United States as fans try to process the implications of such a high-profile transfer. The timing of the announcement, coinciding with the early stages of the offseason, has added a layer of unpredictability to already speculative conversations about roster construction, coaching strategy, and divisional matchups. Some insiders suggest that this trade signals a bold, aggressive shift in the Eagles' approach, possibly indicating that they are willing to gamble heavily to reclaim supremacy in the NFC East after seasons of fluctuating performance. The Cowboys, on the other hand, are facing a period of uncertainty and reevaluation, as losing a cornerstone like Parsons forces them to rethink defensive schemes, talent scouting priorities, and salary cap allocations. Amidst all the chatter, debates rage over how Parsons will mesh with the Eagles' defensive coordinators and existing roster, with experts predicting both immediate impact and potential long-term dominance if his talents are fully harnessed. Fans have inundated sports forums with speculation about how this might affect upcoming drafts and free agency strategies, while pundits dissect every angle from psychological motivation to leadership dynamics. The overarching narrative seems clear. This isn't just a trade. It is a seismic event with potential to reshape rivalries, playoff trajectories, and the very identity of two storied franchises in American football, leaving everyone waiting to see the next chapter unfold with bated breath. The buzz surrounding Micah Parsons' arrival in Philadelphia has only intensified as more rumors surface about the details of his contract and the conditions under which the trade was executed. Sources close to both teams hint that negotiations were delicate and protracted, involving not only salary considerations, but also performance-based bonuses and incentives that could define the next chapter of Parsons' career. For the Eagles, the acquisition represents an opportunity to inject unprecedented energy and versatility into their defensive schemes, offering a player capable of transforming standard playbooks into unpredictable, high-impact strategies. Analysts suggest that Parsons' unique skill set, his speed in pursuit, ability to disrupt both running and passing plays, and football intelligence, could make him a game-changing presence, potentially redefining the dynamics of the NFC East. Meanwhile, Cowboys fans are grappling with a sense of betrayal and confusion, questioning how the team allowed such a talent to slip away and whether this signals deeper organizational shifts. The rumor mill hints at possible ulterior motives, including locker room chemistry, internal disputes, or financial strategy, all of which add to the narrative's complexity and the frenzy surrounding this unexpected blockbuster. As media outlets across the country scramble to provide analysis and speculation, the story continues to evolve, with every interview, social media post, and insider tip adding fuel to the ever-expanding firestorm of discussion, making this one of the most talked-about moves in recent NFL history. Beyond the immediate shockwaves of the trade, conversations among coaches, players, and commentators reveal layers of strategic intrigue that extend far beyond a single season. For Philadelphia, integrating a talent like Micah Parsons requires more than just adjusting formations. It necessitates a reevaluation of defensive priorities, including pass rush angles, linebacker rotations, and blitz packages designed to maximize Parsons' explosive abilities. Rumors circulating within coaching circles suggest that the Eagles may also use Parsons' arrival to influence other positional decisions, potentially freeing up opportunities for emerging talent while recalibrating veteran roles in ways that could alter team chemistry. Meanwhile, The Cowboys are reportedly exploring multiple avenues to compensate for the void left by Parsons, from draft maneuvers to free agent acquisitions, each possibility generating its own wave of speculation and fan debate. The story also touches on broader implications, including the psychology of player loyalty, the economics of high-stakes trades, and the narrative of redemption for a franchise looking to assert dominance after a tumultuous period. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting every available clue, from Parsons' social media reactions to the subtle language of official statements, all in an effort to anticipate the trajectory of this saga. With each passing day, the rumor mill grows louder, feeding a narrative of suspense, strategy, and drama that underscores the magnetic allure of professional football and the unpredictable world of superstar trades. As the excitement continues to build, the potential long-term impact of this trade on the NFL landscape becomes an irresistible topic for discussion and speculation. Micah Parsons' transition to the Eagles could redefine rivalries, challenge existing hierarchies, and inspire a reevaluation of talent valuation across the league, particularly when it comes to defensive playmakers of his caliber. Analysts are debating not only immediate on-field outcomes, but also secondary effects, such as how opposing teams might adjust their offensive tactics in anticipation of Parsons' disruptive presence, and how this move might influence future draft priorities and trade negotiations. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.